So why take the risk and try and do the right thing? And doing the right thing, again, I'm glad you bring this up in the book. You give an example of LinkedIn, which tried to do, open its heart and encourage people to have a dialogue in the wake of the death or the murder of George Floyd,
Yeah.
because there was a big racism issue that cropped
Yeah.
up. We're far away in India, but we watched that with interest, where I think the words were, "I can't breathe," is what he said when he was killed in broad daylight. But when LinkedIn encouraged its people, even anonymously, to respond to this, and standing together is what you write was their theme, things didn't go as well as LinkedIn planned it, did it?
That's right. So LinkedIn, after George Floyd's murder, LinkedIn had a big kind of Zoom town hall meeting. This was still during the pandemic, obviously, so people were not in the office. And then I think they were trying to be very thoughtful. They were trying to say there might be people in the workforce that want to say something about this but feel really uncomfortable revealing their true identity. So we'll have anonymous chat during this meeting. The problem with that is you kind of replicate social media dynamics without meaning. So then what happened, there were a lot of racist comments in the chat, and then LinkedIn couldn't hold the employees accountable because the comments were anonymous. Dell did something similar, but they made the comments not anonymous, and then actually the same thing happened at Dell. People also put racist comments in the chat, but then the leadership was able to hold those people accountable and fire them. So I think a lot of companies are trying to have more discourse with their employees. I think young employees have really different views of work and views of what companies should take on. And I think you've got to be careful not to replicate like the worst dynamics of Twitter. So it can be a bad idea to have things in a town hall format. It can be a bad idea to give a small group of very loud employees the ability to kind of dominate the discussion. You may not get the sense of what your workforce really thinks about a topic. So better to do kind of anonymous surveys, better to give people the opportunity to say what they really think without kind of opening up this space of kind of grandstanding and trying to bring
Right.
people along with you. And I think a lot of companies that have tried to have really open dialogue have found themselves creating a lot of conflict between different employee groups and are somewhat regretting it. So you've got to find a line between it's not right anymore, I think, to say we just set rules from the top, but at the same time, you don't, as a leader, want to kind of say, whichever group of employees yells at me the loudest, I'm going to respond to that group of employees. So you need to find a path between those two extremes.
And about the yelling bit, a friend of mine works in a consulting outfit. He said that the airline companies set aside more money for those customers who yell more. So if somebody's yelling more on the airport, he's given a good overnight stay, and somebody who's just sitting somewhere in the corner. So yeah,